that's what Marvin Mims has done. All to say, Hudson Clark is that dude, and Ben DiNucci is that dude. Because as much as we want to talk about North Dakota State running the FCS, like we talk about Alabama or Clemson running college football playoff national championships, we don't talk about how hard it is to get there. Like, they play a 2014 playoff. You only get the one bye if you won the conference championship. And then you got to run through the bracket. And then there's North Dakota State there at the end, usually. But James Madison has been there, and with him as their quarterback. So you can feel some kind of way about it. But I'm just here to tell you that some of these dudes are not going to get their due. And I'm glad that Mac Jones is seriously on his Bruce Leroy right now. Otherwise, nobody would care. Like, that dude was running like triple option in high school. If that dude wasn't about to reach that upper level where your mind, body, and soul must be one. I mean, he's on his, when I say, who's the master? You say, show enough. And he got that one lazy eye, but he got that one beat the hell eye, and he's just staring daggers at you like Uncle Ruckus. Like, that's where Mac Jones is living right now as a quarterback. Tua Tagovailoa didn't live there as a quarterback. He's a cut above him. But that's what it would take to get your attention, I think. Sometimes I think that, like, Michael Penix Jr. might have to do that to get your attention, but all he's going to have to do is beat Michigan this weekend. My God. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on in the show. But let me see how y'all doing right quick before I call Steve up. See what y'all doing. Justin Strike the Pose Fields. That's James Jackson getting it in. Doc, what's going on, Doc? I appreciate you being in here, man. Keeping the chat regular. I think a Tiger might disagree with that sentiment. I mean, all right. And he said, ain't none of us want that smoke. Man, chuck it to Devontae. That, like, you ain't even got to chuck it to Waddle anymore. Alabama can just chuck the ball to Devontae Smith or chuck the ball to Slade Bolden or chuck the ball to John Mechie. Like, they just cold. Like, it's so cold. Dude says, Corey is on his Trey Lance, man. That dude loves him some Trey Lance. Trying to get him on my Dallas Cowboys. I'm cool. Let me see. 76 sacks of David Damcar. Ain't that a, man? Man, y'all need to stop calling these white dudes Gucci because it ain't working. All right, let me call my man because he's like standing by. So you're going to hear the phone ring and then he going to pick up. Check him out. America's favorite realtor. Let me see.
Hey, RJ.
Steve from Tulsa. You're on the RJ Young Show podcast. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great. How are you, RJ?
I'm yelling about Ben DiNucci and making comparisons to Henry Aaron and Trey Lance and Justin Fields. That's what I'm doing.
Ben DiNucci, you're comparing him to them?
I'm saying that it's real hard for folks to really understand how good Ben DiNucci was and how hard it is to play quarterback in the NFL. That's what I'm saying.
You know, he makes it look hard. I'll give you that.
You go shade Ben DiNucci too? I mean, look, all right, here's the thing about DiNucci. He was destroying at James Madison, so much so that he's playing opposite Trey Lance. You know that dude that everybody thinks is going to be a top 10 pick? Like, That's where the margins are. The margins are that. Like, you can be that guy and still not be that good. And yet be way better than any of us have any right to be. Like, that's my point. I just want people to really understand how hard it is, one, to make the NFL, and two, to play quarterback in the NFL, even against the trash defense like the Philadelphia Eagles, and especially with a trash offensive line like the one the Dallas Cowboys put out there on Sunday night.
It's difficult to play quarterback when you're running for your life, when you think Gallup is your only receiver. It's difficult. And I understand, and I think we all understand that the worst quarterback in NFL history is better than me.
Okay.
And better than a lot of guys that never smelled a practice squad, never got a tryout. You know, I get that. I know he's got talent. I know he's got ability, but it didn't look good Sunday.
So let me throw this in there. If Cody Thomas makes it to the show and Cody Thomas bats his age, right? I think he'll be 26, 27, right? He bats his age. Are we going to call him good? Or are we going to call him, what he was when he was coming all the way up? Because I think people forget that Cody Thomas was not a hell of a baseball player. He was one of the best baseball players. And that dude just doesn't always translate to the show. Meanwhile, the dude that kind of ain't much of anything in AA or AAA can end up being one of your best players. So, I think
Sure.
that just talking through the margins of that is fascinating to me because you don't know until you get there, right?
Yeah.
And once you get there,
Absolutely.
you need opportunities. And Ben DiNucci's not going to get another opportunity. They're already going to go with Cooper Rusher or damn Garrett Gilbert. Yeah.
Yeah. I think maybe we already know what those guys can do or can't do. So DiNucci hasn't had much of a tryout yet. So if you're on team, let's give him one more shot. I could go for that. But I don't know. I'm not sure what Tom Brady could do with this Dallas team.
Actually, that's a good point because, like the conversation in New England is that Bill Belichick lost the Tom Brady fight, which say who's better, Brady or Belichick? And I'm like, have you seen what they had to work with? Like, there's no Jamie Collins. Stephon Gilmore got COVID, and I'm certain now that if you caught it and you're trying to play a professional sport, it is hampering you, even after you are quote unquote cleared to play. Like, Andy Dalton's gonna come back and not be any good because he can't think.
Yeah, you've had COVID, right? Or is that a HIPAA policy?
No, I had it back in April. Yes.
Okay, I as well.
HIPAA policy.
Didn't have a major. Can you tell on yourself?
God.
I had it as well, and I'll say, like a lot of people, didn't get real sick for a couple days. Man, I wasn't myself mentally and physically for a week or two. And I so these guys that aren't real symptomatic or just sick a little bit, to jump back, play, it affects you. That's why I'm picking Notre Dame Saturday.
Wait a second. You gonna pick Notre Dame Saturday based on COVID?
I don't think Trevor Lawrence is gonna be his 100%.
He ain't gonna play. It's DJ's show.
Then I'm still picking Notre Dame.
Okay, all right, because